Mr. Rubo here. We are going to talk about solving nonlinear inequalities, specifically polynomials. So there's kind of four steps. First, solve it like it was an equal sign. So factor, if you need to factor, figure out what all the x-intercepts would be, and we're going to list them out. And what we're going to list them is in a sign chart. So we'll see what that looks like. And then you're going to test values in each one, and then you're going to interpret it. And I'm going to show you kind of like two methods with the testing values. So, and then yeah, make sure you write your interval notation. And by the way, you're going to test values to see if it's positive or negative. All we care about is the sign, hence the name sign chart. So let me go to example 4 here. And so this one, we want to solve it, which the nice thing is it's already factored for us. So our three solving if this was equal to 0 would be x equals 3, x equals -1, and x equals -4. So now we're going to go ahead and draw our sign chart. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line and make it a number line. And we're going to put those numbers in order of how they would show up on a number line. So -4 would be first, then -1, then 3. And what I'm going to take into account as well is their multiplicity. So in this case, their multiplicities are 1, 1, and 1. All right. So then what we then have to do is, again, think of this like a number line. So then you're going to choose something in each section of these number lines and plug it into the equation and see, are we asking for, or will it be a positive number or a negative number? You don't care about what the number actually is. You just care, is it positive or negative? So I'm going to go ahead and choose like -5 for this section. So I'm going to say -5 minus 3. -5 plus 1, and -5 plus 4. And then I'm going to simplify. And like I said, all I care about is my answer going to be positive or negative? So I don't even care necessarily what the number is, but I'm going to end up multiplying 3 negatives together, which means this section that would have -5 in it in the number line is going to be negative. Okay. And then you would do the same thing for each section. So you go ahead and you say, okay, number between negative, so in this section, number between -4 and -1, well, -2 sounds like a good number, right? You then substitute it in, do your math, and then you'll end up seeing that you'll have 2 negatives and 1 positive, which means when you multiply them together, you'll end up with positive. And you just do that for each one. So like the next section, you plug in like 0 is a good choice, right? Plug in 0, you get -3 times 1 times 4. Well, that would be a negative answer. And then the last section, hey, that's everything bigger than 3. So I'm going to choose 4 to plug in. Plug it in, do your math, and you end up that all of the multiplication is positive, so you end up with a positive answer. And so what this is telling us is from -infinity to -4, the answers would be negative. From -4 to -1, answers would be positive. -1 to 3 would be negative answers, and then 3 to infinity are positive answers. So now we just go back and think, what does greater than 0 mean? It means positive. So I'm going to go and look and say, okay, my two positive sections are right here and right here. So my final answer are the intervals where this happens. So it goes from -4 to -1, and then from 3 to infinity. And then if it's just greater than, everything's parentheses. If it's greater than or equal to, anytime you're at a 0, you'd put a square bracket. So this answer would look a little different. It would just be square brackets for everything but the infinity symbol. Okay. The second way you can do this, you still started off exactly the same as I did, but if you want to use the multiplicity, if you recall from yesterday, multiplicities graphically mean that you are crossing the x-axis in a specific fashion. So multiplicity of 1 means you are crossing it like a linear function, So that means if you knew this left side was negative, right, this leftmost one right here, sorry, my pen doesn't want to write. If you knew this was negative and this is multiplicity of 1, then on the other side it has to be positive. And then it switches to negative, then it switches to positive. So it'll save you the time of substituting in numbers in all of the sections. Okay, so that one, like I said, you could always substitute in. If you don't like multiplicities, substitution works. It just takes you longer. So with example 5, I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well. Sorry about this. I was trying to zoom in, but Eraser didn't go. All right, so with this one, I'm going to go the multiplicity route. So go ahead and solve these separately. So I'm going to say, oh, this gives me x equals -2, multiplicity of 2, and then x equals 5, multiplicity of 1. Go do my number line, right? So I got -2, multiplicity of 2, 5, multiplicity of 1. And so now I have to plug in a number. And I just can't plug in -2 or 5. And whatever number I choose, that's also going to be where it is. So I could choose -3, and that'll tell me this section. I could choose like something between -2 and 5, and that'll tell me the middle. Or I could choose something bigger than 5, and that'll tell me the right side. What I recommend always doing is if 0 is available, choose 0. So I'm going to choose 0 and say, okay, 0 plus 2 squared, 0 minus 5, that's 2, so I get 4 when I square it, and then -5, that's negative, right? It'd be -20, and I put it in the middle because that's where 0 would be, right, on this number line. Again, it's a number line, so keep that in mind. Now, I just need to worry about the multiplicities. So from 0, like from this middle section, and if I go across -2, because of the multiplicity of being 2, it's an even multiplicity, which means it bounces if you're looking graphically, which means if it was negative, it stays negative. So because it's a multiplicity of 2, these two signs are the same. Now, the other side, we got negative for the 0, but then multiplicity of 1. So that means we're crossing the x-axis. So if you were negative, this side would become positive whenever you have that odd multiplicity. Okay, so now our sign chart is complete. We then look and we have to say, oh, less than or equal to 0. Less than 0 means negative, so that's this section and this section, and we're including 0, so we are including that point as well. So now, when you think again, this is a number line, so it's everything to the left, which would be negative infinity, to -2, but then -2 is included, so we can just keep going until we switch to become positive, which doesn't happen until 5, and because it's or equal to, we do the good old square bracket, and there's our answer. Okay, and again, if the multiplicity confused you, just choose values and substitute them in. So if you were to do that, I would probably choose like these 3 values of -3, 0, and 6, plug them in, you'll get the same answer, that it goes negative, negative, positive, and then you determine that interval the same way once you have the sign chart completed. All right, well, thanks for watching, and have a good day.